We got to start.
All right. Well, we got a little bit of a big game for this channel going on there tomorrow. Don't want to get into that one just yet because, well, I'm wearing a hat so you can't see the vein that ends up popping once we begin talking about this game. It's going to get very heated. Let's start with something that we all agree with. Deshaun Watson, yeah, he sucks. And we've been talking about all year just about how, I mean, as a starter there for Cleveland, he has a QBR of 33. And the only person that's worse is Bryce Young. So like the Browns end up dishing out a whole lot of money and draft capital into a player that's just simply not producing. And for a team that, let's give the Browns credit. Kevin Stefanski ended up winning games with 4 different quarterbacks last year, Deshaun being one of them, but was not the guy that won the most games for them in the season, like you would think of a starting quarterback. Today, Andrew Berry is, having a press conference, and a question was asked there on Deshaun's future there with Cleveland, and he was pretty non-committal on the whole thing. He was just talking about how, Deshaun has just got to get healthy first. And then in terms of starting next year for the Browns, we'll figure it out when we get there, was basically the message that was there. Is Deshaun getting cut by the Browns?
No, he's not getting cut by the Browns. They can't afford to do it. It's just way too much money they got to spend on it, and you got to be able to back it up. You got to, they say, make your bed and lay in it. That's what the Browns have to do here. If they do decide to move on from Deshaun, though, it's going to have to be soon because you're going to take a lot of dead cap hits for the next 3 to 4 years. And if they were going to do that, then they should have been sellers at the deadline. Myles Garrett should have been gone. Greg Newsome should have been gone. Nick Chubb should have been gone. The Browns had the opportunity to move on from Watson this year if they wanted to. Now, if they didn't, you can't do it in the offseason. I just think you're not going to get as much value like you would at a trade deadline where teams are desperately looking for that player to push to the next level to get them to a Super Bowl, and they'll offer you more there than they will in the offseason. So I think the Browns just basically by being little sellers at the deadline, only getting rid of Smith, tell me they still have a plan for Watson. They think he's the franchise guy.
Now, I disagree in you saying that they should have completely sold Garrett and Chubb, which is rare because usually in baseball I think that the team should always sell the trade deadline. But if you, as a Browns fan, saw your team sell Nick Chubb, who just came back, and Myles Garrett, who is perennially a top 3 defensive player of the year, why would you go to games? I mean, Watson's out. If Chubb, Garrett were gone, Amari Cooper's gone, why would you go? Not that I feel bad. I would feel bad for a Cleveland Browns fan in that situation, but and I disagree with you on the other thing. I think that the Browns should just bite the bullet and cut Watson because what happened this year? He got hurt, tore his Achilles. Oh darn! Couldn't have happened to a better guy. What happened in 2023? He was injured. What happened in 2022? He was suspended for however many games.
11.
And played 6 games. And in none of those games did he ever eclipse 300 yards. So he is a locker room cancer, clearly. He's a media PR nightmare. And he's a worse quarterback than he is person. So I think that he's had plenty of time to prove himself as a quarterback and, maybe try to make up for some of the off the field issues. And to my knowledge, he's done neither of those things. I mean, when Jameis Winston and Myles Garrett came out to defend him, my camera is not focused. This is really bothering me. When Garrett and Winston came out to defend him, they got blasted on social media. So what does that tell you? No one sees, oh, hey, I know what happened 4 years ago, 6 years ago with this guy, but I think he's done this in the community, and he's done this to try to better his image amongst the fans and the community. Well, no, that shit ain't happening. And if it were, they wouldn't have got blasted when they tried to defend him. I think you just bite the bullet. He's not that good of a quarterback. You just got to fucking do it. I mean, what's keeping him around for another 2 years to play shit football? At the back half of next season. What's
money?
I mean, money. Yeah, money is a fucking renewable resource. Okay, you fucking make it every day, and these NFL teams, these NFL owners. Okay, this is gonna dodge into what we're talking about next segment. Juan Soto. They got the fucking money. Okay, yeah. Are the Saints fucked for the next couple years because they have a shit team and they have fucking negative 100 million, 200 million cap space and nothing to show for it? Yeah, they're fucked. But if I was a Browns fan, I'd rather be fucked without Deshaun Watson and a team you can root for and a clear, a fucking plan, a 3-year plan on how to get back to the playoffs than, oh, we're gonna let Deshaun take up, all this fucking money, and he's going to be a locker room cancer, and he's, hopefully going to rehab, and he's going to be back for the second half of next season, and he's going to play 4 games, and, well, we're going to have 3 shit games and 1 decent game against the fucking Giants, and, then we're going to go into fucking 2026, like, oh, this is the year where Watson's going to be back to Houston form like he was in 2019 and 2020, fucking 6 years ago. No, I don't see it happening. I mean, just cut him, okay? Send him back to fucking South Carolina, where the last time he fucking left a team on, on good terms. I mean, I don't know where he's from. I know he went to Clemson. Like, I don't know. I don't know what you do with the dude. It's a mess.
Yeah, I think from a business aspect, I think you almost have to cut him just because, I mean, even when they had acquired him in the first place and gave up all that they ended up giving up, they had a lot of backlash. I mean, a lot of free agency moves, you'll see some sort of backlash, but it's like when the Cowboys, at this trade deadline, they end up trading for Mingo there from Carolina.
For 4th.
Hey, like what are we doing? Like I just like that doesn't make sense. The Watson thing really didn't make sense because Baker had already won them a playoff game. He had already kind of bought some equity there with the fan base. I do think that it's kind of interesting just now the GM is starting to kind of back off, and I kind of blame the GM for that. And normally that gets guys fired. Like I'm not saying that Andrew Berry has been a bad GM by any stretch. This is the worst trade in professional sports history. Like I dare you to go look at another trade in one of these major sports. I'm sorry if something happened in lacrosse, that Josiah's track, and then I don't know what it is. This trade right here, if you are just barely better than Bryce Young, yeah, that's bad. You can't even say the Bears getting the number 1 overall pick and getting DJ Moore and Caleb Williams is looking good if you're Josiah, right? This is the worst trade.
I can't remember which team drafted him, but it was either Reggie Bush or I think it was Reggie. What was his name? Ricky Williams. One team traded almost their entire draft for the 1 pick to go up and get this running back, who ultimately ended up flunking in his NFL career because he couldn't get off the pot. I'd say that was probably one of the worst trades.
So one of, I'll put that as one of. I'm saying this is the worst. This is worse than that.
I don't know, man. Think about it. You give up your entire draft for a running back who's really good, but you can't capitalize on it when your team's playing really good that year with Chad Pennington having a chance to go to a Super Bowl and he can't get off the pot to do it.
The Saints drafted him and traded him to Miami.
So how much did Miami give up to get him? Or how much did the Saints give up to trade up and get Ricky? It was a lot. I mean, I don't know if it was Was it Herschel Walker who had the biggest one back in like the?
Wait. No, I'm sorry.
The Herschel Walker trade, I think, is 2.
I'm sorry. He got drafted by the Redskins. Sorry, YouTube. Don't fucking demonetize this video because I said something racist. Also, we're coming up on our timer here. I gotta make this quick. He was traded by the Redskins as a first-round pick, 5th overall, to the Saints for a first-round pick of that year, 3rd-round pick, 4th-round pick, 5th-round pick, 6th-round pick, 7th-round pick, a next year's 2001st, and a 3rd.
Williams and the Saints could never capitalize on him. He goes to Miami. Miami can't capitalize on him. He's out of the league.
Okay, so
I mean, the Saints gave up a lot.
Well, I guess speaking of contracts here, the Juan Soto contract. Juan Soto is easily going to be the hottest free agent. So if you were unaware, the Yankees end up trading for Juan Soto, and essentially it was dubbed the Bronx Bombers when they end up getting him. Fully delivered. Like the Yankees 1-2 punch. I think the Dodgers 1-2-3 punch of Mookie. This is at least the start of the year. Mookie, Shohei, and Freddie. That's the best 1-2-3 punch I think of my lifetime up to this point. But I think that the Correa Altuve 1-2 punch that the Astros had a few years ago, the Juan Soto Aaron Judge combo makes that one look so minor. So minor. And Scott Boras is, representing him. Scott Boras is a notorious guy to basically get everything for his clients. And Juan Soto is asking for $700 million. Now, he's not asking for 700 over 10 like Shohei is, or I guess he kind of deferred his money. But the contract was still set up for 700 over 10. He's looking for 700 over about 14 years. So this next move is supposed to be his final stop. Now, he did claim that every team is going to have a shot. Now, off a technicality, yes, because everybody in 2024 has a phone. So, yes, everybody has a shot. Everybody can call. I am sorry, Reds fans, if you were sitting there thinking that Juan Soto is coming to Cincinnati. Ain't happening. So let's call a spade a spade. He's going to a big market. I don't think that this is a Corey Seager type of thing where he's already kind of an established guy, and then he goes and helps out a lower market team. Juan Soto already had the Washington National thing there before. I think he got the taste of New York. He saw the World Series again. I don't know. Where do you guys think he's going?
Baltimore.
I know you said big I'm sorry team. For you.
I know you're talking big market teams, but the Orioles, they're under the new ownership. That's back-to-back years with the playoffs. They are making that push and making that effort. I could see them making a splash. If not him, they will be spending some big bucks this offseason to help that team get to the next level. But why not? The new owner, a new team, great playoff success, a lot of young rookies. Why not bring in a solid vet like that to help take this team to the next level?
Just say Baltimore has 7 free agents this year. Like 7 key free agents. Corbin Burns being one of them. Like I understand the new ownership, but there are guys that were on that team that you're talking about that were really special. You have to go sign them too.
Do you though? With the pipeline talent the Orioles have, one of the best in the MLB. Corbin Burns missed half the season. I don't know. I like it. You need an offensive explosion, and the only solid outfielder they have there is Milkman, Colton Cowser. And he's a rookie, if not really early young in his baseball career. So you getting a seasoned vet like that with that kind of power, why not? And then build the rest of the team around that with your pipeline talent. I mean, you got him 14 fucking years, Josh. It's enough time to build. Tyler, what do you think?
Let me show you guys this video. There's a picture right here.
I was going to say, YouTube, you did hear picture there.
Okay. So,
right.
Let me zoom in a little bit for you here. So this is courtesy of. Oh, here we go. So this is courtesy of my good friend Dominic, who is a Mets fan. Okay.
This is gonna hurt me.
2023
How do we go
revenue.
down? Sorry.
315 million. Okay, hold on. My dad just texted me and said, "You got to fix your microphone. You can't hear me." Why can't we hear me? Everything's plugged in. I don't understand what's going on.
While it works on the microphone, Josh, you want to take us through this list?
Well, so I mean, I'm looking at this right now with the 315 mil for the Reds and then 126 mil afterwards. That number really frightens me. But I mean, I'm hoping that we make some sort of move. Looking at this though, it is kind of crazy to see the Mets still there in first after getting rid of Verlander and everything. They did kind of go on a spending spree, I guess, a few years ago. I don't really know what the percentage means though. Like
So
2024 percentage against 2023.
no, the percentage is how much of the revenue are they spending for payroll.
Okay, gotcha.
So you see the Royals. I don't know if they can hear. I don't know if you can hear me on the stream.
Oh, I see revenue now.
Yeah.
I thought it said payroll up top. Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah. So like the Royals, they made 302 million. They spent 151 million on payroll, 50% exactly. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Out of these 30 teams,
40%.
what's the list that he's really gonna be considering? Okay, he said you are like a 2 and they are an 8. So let me turn mine up. Apparently, I don't know why my mic has so many issues.
Gosh, that's just so embarrassing to see that down there at the bottom. Like the Rays, I'm okay with. The O's, I'm okay with. Tigers at least produced. But there is a correlation to payroll versus revenue there.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure this out later. Okay. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, what's the list that he's honestly considering here? 6 teams, maybe. I mean, both New York teams, LA Dodgers, Giants. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he probably does he consider going back to the Nationals, who have a few pieces, but they were kind of a flirty team this year. For the first kind of April, May. I don't know. I mean, I mean, I wish I had I wish there was like a marker on here you could where I could like mark on this screen. I don't know how to do that. But yeah, I mean, like he's not going to the Blue Jays. If the Blue Jays couldn't get Shohei, they're not dishing out 700 mil for Soto again. I mean, he's not going to the Diamondbacks. I mean, if he played shortstop, he could go to the Padres because the Padres actually do need a shortstop.
I think that's a live team. I think that him going to the Padres is on the board.
Because then I guess he could move Tatis back to short, move Soto into right, who isn't a great fielder. You could make it work if you had Soto in the outfield. You could move one of the outfielders that's supposed to be in the infield back into the infield.
I'd like to see him go to the Royals just as an imagination. I mean, I know it's not a big market team, but a young team like that, a lot of talent, getting ready to be on the up and coming, he'd be a great addition there. Maybe put the team back on the map.
Him in Colorado would be fascinating. He'd probably end up hitting for 60 bombs.
Him and Chris Bryant together.
Yeah. Well, yeah, finally, we'd hear from Chris again.
Yeah, we would.
I mean, dude, he won a Rookie of the Year, won a World Series chip with the Cubs.
And an MVP.
That's it. Yeah, he did win an MVP. You're right.
Yeah. He's like the only player to win all 3, consecutive years or something.
Do you think, because the Dodgers are obviously going to make a huge run at him, should the Dodgers be considered the favorites to get Soto?
No. Dodgers have enough talent, enough money on the payroll. I think they're going to be just fine moving forward as the team they are. They just won the World Series and not looking to make another big addition out here like that. They could add a couple, seasoned vets and rotation players to add to the lineup, but
If
nothing
I were the
crazy.
Dodgers, I would add, you know, two really good starting pitchers rather than Soto. I think Soto means more to the Yankees than he does to the Dodgers. I mean, Soto to the Dodgers breaks baseball and puts it almost in a non-competitive type place. I mean, that's like 1927 Murderers Row Yankees lineup type stuff. Um, if he
Well, I was going to
goes,
say like KD to the Warriors. Once KD ends up joining a team that already had
yeah,
um, Steph, Clay, Draymond, and Steve Kerr, they had already won a couple chips before then.
that just beat him in the Western
Um,
Conference Finals.
yeah, yeah, that's. But to be fair, it was a fun watch, and oh gosh, I cannot believe I am saying this about a big market team here. But this is, I think, the Shohei effect. In a weird way, I would almost be okay if he went to the Dodgers. I'm not rooting for it, but I mean, it would ensure that Shohei's getting the postseason, and I need to see him pitch and hit in the same game in the postseason more than anything. Like I just that would be just such a cool thing to end up seeing, telling people about. That's an all-time moment. Get Juan Soto, you guarantee it.
Okay, so let's make a bet here. Does he have a better chance of going to the NL West, Dodgers, Padres, or Giants? Really, he's not going to Arizona. He's not going to Colorado. Or
No.
does he have a better chance of going to the AL East? Yankees, Orioles, Red Sox, Blue Jays.
So that's
I like
tough
the
because
AL East.
you like the AL. Well, okay.
I mean, the NL's decided. The Dodgers decided. We know the teams to expect from there. This AL was a very tricky division to watch this year. I mean, the Yankees came out on top, but it was up and down for a while too. And you got a lot of teams there that are I would think are not afraid to spend money with the new ownership. We know Toronto's not. We know the Yankees aren't. We know the Braves aren't. I think it could be a really good fit there, and his best chance to get to a World Series outside of the Dodgers would be going to the AL East.
I don't know, Josh. I don't know where he got the Braves from.
I that's
I think maybe even the Blue Jays. I don't know.
I NL East. I mean, we're close.
Or the NL Central. Maybe
I
he comes to the NL Central. Maybe he comes to the Midwest.
I think that he's got as good of a shot at going to the AL Central as he does going to the Orioles. But I mean, I don't see a world where he goes to Baltimore. I understand the new ownership, and I think that they will spend the amount of money that he's asking for. I think you're looking at, and actually, I think that the top three teams were Dodgers, Padres, Yankees, or sorry, Dodgers, Mets, Yankees. I just think the Padres have to be in there because he did play for them. Um, I think the answer's got to be the NL West. I don't think that the Giants are going to spend all of that to get him, but I mean, I'd be shocked if they didn't call. The Giants tend to be in a lot of these big free agent signings, even if they don't end up getting them. Padres, they spend a lot. Mets, they spend a lot, and then obviously Yankees, Dodgers, they make the most there normally each year in terms of TV rights and ticket sales. The Dodgers, in terms of attendance alone, um, fund certain baseball teams. The Reds being one of them. So it's, um, I'm almost kind of leaning towards if it's not the Dodgers, I'm kind of surprised.
A really big question that obviously would help answer this dilemma is after playing in Washington, East Coast, getting traded to San Diego, West Coast, and then coming back to New York, East Coast, is what did he like better?
Mm.
Because obviously the teams that are competing on the West Coast Dodgers, Padres, Giants, the California teams, the Cali 3, if he says, I don't like the West Coast, then it becomes okay, Yankees, Orioles. I don't know.
Well, if
That's-
we're strictly
that's the
limited
list.
to if we're strictly with the East Coast, can we throw the Braves in there?
I just don't know.
I think the Braves are a team. I think the Braves are a team, but Acuna does play right field.
I think you could move. I think you'd move Soto to
center.
the left. No, you'd move him to
Oh.
left because he's a bad defender. He's not a good defender.
Well, no, I'm saying move Acuna to center and then keep Soto there and right. But I could see them just having him play
I'd move
left.
Soto to left, keep Acuna in right, and then have someone quicker. I mean, with Acuna,
Was Acuna originally a center fielder?
No,
Okay.
I wouldn't put him there with 2 ACL tears.
Yeah.
That's not the guy I'd put there. Which is weird, considering he just set a home run stolen base record with 73 stolen bases in a single season.
70.
Saying that's a guy I would not put in center field is a crazy statement.
The bases are bigger.
I know Shohei is like the next Babe Ruth, the next Hall of Fame baseball player, and we're not going to discredit him at all here. We love him here.
He's not the next Babe Ruth, Josiah. He is him.
He is.
Sorry.
Okay. The formula for the Dodgers to win was by allowing this elite hitter to only DH. Well, not allowing, he was restricted. And it really helped push this team to the next level. So if Soto were to do something like the Braves, who says he even has to play in the outfield? What's stopping him from being a DH only and working to get better at bat? And then he can play outfield when they got to rotate guys in.
Matt Olson. Like they're the Braves and Ozuna. Like they already kind of have some other bad defenders that are on their team.
Is that Ozuna from the Braves?
You said what?
Is that Ozuna from the Braves?
Yeah.
You don't know. Have you seen the video of his DUI? When the officer walks up, he says, "I'm Ozuna from the Braves." Just go to any Instagram post next season of Marcell Ozuna, and he will say they'll be like, "Oh, great play, Ozuna from the Braves."
Dude, that guy can hammer any baseball. He's kind of like Nelson Cruz. I was just talking about him the other day.
Cruz, yeah.
But fielding wise, he's like, oh, you know what, Nelson Cruz. Like he's just a really good hitter, and he doesn't really give you that much there, fielding. But those bats are just so valuable, man. All right, well, Josiah, the time has come here. All right, now
time to pay your dues, boys.
This is this is an uncomfortable spot for the show because we try to be as unified as possible. We try to agree with everybody's takes, all the time. We never yell over each other. Oh wait, this is J&J in the evenings. No, we do tend to do that sometimes. But Bengals Ravens happens twice a year, sometimes 3. Don't tell Tyler Huntley about that. But Josiah, we got a Thursday night football game here between 2 quarterbacks that, top 4 in the league. Burrow and Lamar, obviously, the former being higher up there in the quarterback ratings than the latter. But the game is in Baltimore, prime time. Josiah, I can't believe how much we're going to lose by. How much are the Ravens going to beat us by? Go ahead and let me know that number.
I don't think it's going to be a blowout, Josh. I think we're looking at the shootout part 2. Both things the Ravens and Bengals highlighted together over the last couple of weeks is we are lacking on defense. We are 2 of the worst defenses and 2 of the best offenses. So we are 2 peas in a pod right here. We could not be more similar. Both our quarterbacks are having MVP caliber seasons. Both our teams are playing at elite levels on the offense side of the ball, and both of us made more additions here at the trade deadline. There's no argument to make here for how bad we're going to beat you guys. Here's the point-blank fact. Lamar's only lost to the Bengals once. How many times have we had this discussion where you've ended up on the bad end? This is in Baltimore in primetime. I don't need to tell you how great Harbaugh is in primetime, but I will tell you he has never lost a game on Thursday Night Football in his entire coaching career. And I guarantee you he will not start today tomorrow, with the Bengals, who cannot seem to beat Lamar Jackson. It's just not going to happen, Josh.
I had to write down that Harbaugh is good in prime time because I know that he's not a good head coach at all. We should definitely fire him. He is good in prime time, though, so I'm glad that we at least noted that. So
he is good in prime time.
So now we can eliminate that from the list of why we don't win playoff games, right, Josiah? Because those are prime time games. But regardless,
to be honest with you, think about it, Josh. The AFC always plays the first game in the playoffs. The NFC gets the primetime slots. Think about it.
One to two games happen at a time. What do you like? Playoff games? That's when everybody's watching. What a primetime game is. Sometimes it happens on a Saturday. That doesn't scream primetime to you.
What happened when Baltimore played a Saturday night game in the playoffs in 2020? Huh? What happened when there was 6,700 Bills fans in Highmark Stadium and they caused a couple false start penalties?
Offensive line. There we go. Offensive line.
Yeah, mark out.
He's got his bases covered there, Tyler. O-line and defense.
Lamar got a concussion that game by standing in the pocket. How can you not blame the offensive line for that? And we had Walmart as wide receivers.
O-line is
probably had to poop. After he threw a 100-yard pick six, he said, "I got to poop," and we're down by 2 scores, and I haven't done anything all game. And he went to the bathroom.
Touché.
He said, "Hey, yo, Snoop, you got this, bro. Come on."
Now you're getting off track. You're getting off track. Here's the point of the matter: the Ravens are the better team in this matchup. The Ravens are the better team in the North. And here's an interesting stat: Lamar Jackson, in his entire career, has not lost a regular season game after losing to the Browns. So I'm pretty confident we're going to win 13 games this year. I'm confident we're going to steamroll right past this. It's going to be stressful. The fourth quarter is always terrible. But we're going to get through this. We're going to win, and we'll see another day. You guys, though, this is where your season ends.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy to watch the Ravens win 10 consecutive games. I can't wait to see how that ends up working out there. But I guess you guys haven't had your bye week yet, so maybe it'll be like 8 or 9. But I can't wait to see that. So
1 week at a time.
Just like you said that we don't stand a chance because, I mean, Harbaugh is good in prime time. Lamar, I think, is good in prime time too. I think that's why you guys haven't lost any playoff games yet. So do we want to revisit last year, Thursday Night Football, what happened there before Burrow went down? Do we want to discuss that one?
Because here we go.
Before Burrow went down, before Burrow went down, they were up in the red zone. It was very much another Damar Hamlin situation where, you know what, let's just call the game now because we're getting a little nervous here. All right, we got to make sure that the two teams that the NFL really wants, there at the very end. Do we want to revisit the game that happened this year? Because, that was a few weeks ago, and Evan McPherson missed a 52-yard field goal. Yeah, I can say that won't happen this go-around. I had said going into the game this year that we weren't going to win it. I didn't think we were going to win the last one. This one I feel more confident in, not only because, we would have beat you had Burrow stayed healthy there throughout the game because we were beating you in the red zone there again. I want to, recite the whole game that ended going on the last go-around where Burrow clearly looked like the better quarterback out of the two. Let's just talk about what happened coming out of the Raiders game. The Bengals won, but you would not be able to know that based off the tonality of this team. And that's why if you go back to Monday's episode that I ended up doing when I talked about the biggest threats there to the Chiefs, something switched there in the team after Jermaine Burton ended up missing the walkthrough. I don't know what the hell happened with, why that happened. Like I'm kind of just going based off reports and what they're saying there in the press conference. But something switched there. And they had said going into the tunnel, leaving that Raiders game, Mike Hilton sitting there screaming to everybody, all right, you guys can celebrate for an hour. But we got another game there on Thursday. Like, we didn't play good enough to soak this one in long enough. And Burrow is sitting there pissed off on the sideline while they're showing a graphic of him having 5 touchdown passes. He's sitting there with a frown on his face. This team is about to go on a run. The back half of the schedule is very, very light, and it starts with Baltimore. Baltimore is very beatable. If you don't think so, because Josiah thinks that since the Bengals lost to the Patriots that we're super beatable, I'm gonna assume the Raiders losing to them, that's not in the same category because John Harbaugh's still the head coach, so I think that has some, and O-line and defense. I always forget the other two things. The Bengals had the better quarterback. They may not have the better head coach here in this matchup. Defensively, I think it's a squash. I think it's going to come down there to the offense, and although T's going to be out, you have the better quarterback by a wide margin, too. I'm joking. It's not a wide margin, but he is the better quarterback.
So you are anchoring your entire argument on the fact you guys have this little bit of momentum for beating Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew?
Nope.
Well, you still have
because I'm actually saying the complete opposite.
You still got Zach Taylor. You're still coming to Baltimore in prime time. And since we want to talk about it, you want to talk about, oh, we would have beat you guys if Burrow didn't get hurt. How many times do we have to make that excuse? We would have beat you guys in the playoffs if Lamar didn't get hurt. You know it, and I do too.
That's a tough one. I
guess what,
no, we made the AFC Championship game.
Guess what, dum-dum? Guess what? The Ravens have momentum too. Lamar had the entire team off social media for 2 straight weeks. Lamar's not running around having fun. He is serious game to game. He's zoned in just as much as Joe Burrow is. Both our quarterbacks are playing at an MVP level. But at the end of the day, I'm banking everything on the same thing I told Tyler. Home game, primetime, Baltimore. Oh, and we're debuting our new uniforms with the purple helmets. First time we've ever had a helmet other than the traditional black. So the play is going to be electrifying. It's going to be loud. It's hard to go in M&T and win. And the Bengals are going to struggle. But the Ravens will come out on top. Going to yell. I'm going to let you have your little pride moment here because when we come back on Friday, I guarantee you, you're going to have a lot coming your way, buddy.
Yeah, no,
Just like you do every time we do this. I'm not even worried. Every time we do this, I come back in to make you look like a fucking idiot, and I'll do it one more time. Run it back. I'm like LeBron James and make you look like an idiot when it comes to the Ravens-Bengals.
I definitely can't wait to end up come back there on Friday because I know that you're going to blame the defense. I already know that. I don't know if the O-line gets mixed in because we can't create a consistent pass rush. So your O-line can't be the problem. I'm starting to maybe think, I don't know, Tyler, about you, but I'm starting to think that maybe we end up getting like the Isaiah Likely being out. Like that might be a reason why we end up losing. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited.
Look, I've been quiet this whole time, so Josiah, what you got for me?
Yeah. I'm not going to put you on the spot. I'm going to just ask you, what is your pick? Do you, in a general consensus, think Josh is making a logical argument here that the Bengals can go into Baltimore in primetime and take this game from a hot offense? Is it possible?
Just never mind. Go ahead.
We've been doing this show together for like a year and a half, and most of this calendar year, like pretty consistently. And there is nothing more that I enjoy than coming on here and making fun of the Ravens and talking trash and taking the Bengals side. But I can't right now because there's a guy that plays for the Ravens. His last name is Henry. And I don't see how the Bengals stop Derrick Henry. That's the difference for me right now. Not having T, it wasn't a big deal last week. And Jamar didn't even, have a big game. He had like 45 yards or something.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation I had too, man.
Yeah,
He's
so
going for 200 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns this week. He's going for 202.
That's hilarious.
No,
Gosh,
Jamar.
I really should be driving up to Dayton. I really should drive up there because I think the last time I watched a Ravens Bengals game with you, you walked in the other room because you couldn't watch the rest of it.
I remember that. I said Jamar. I didn't say Zay. I said Jamar is going for 202 touchdowns.
Jamar's not doing that. Not with T
He
gone.
just did the last freaking time. He always plays us hard. He's Burrow's check down merchant with the slants.
That's
Burrow's
going on the
attack
case ground now.
Burrow's going to attack the middle of the field. Let me tell you about Bo Nix and the Broncos real quick. Bo Nix and the Broncos looked terrible against this Ravens defense, and it wasn't that the defense looked good. They were just that bad. We had Bo Nix at every corner, but every so often, 30-yard dart down the middle, 40-yard dart down the middle, 50-yard dart down the middle, touchdown down the middle. He overthrew 3 touchdown passes. Joe Burrow's not going to miss those touchdown passes. So you're going to see him passing and attacking the middle of the field, and that's where Jamar Chase thrives. I mean, start Jamar Chase if you got him in fantasy. I'm just talking facts. He is going to have a big day tomorrow.
Man, I wish I had that confidence. I don't think Jamar's gonna be the reason why we win tomorrow. Like I think the only reason why we win tomorrow is Burrow.
You won't win tomorrow, but go on.
It's like the Jamar argument is like I guess the Jamar conversation is starting to get kind of interesting because coming into the season, I felt fairly confident that he was the second best receiver in football, only to Justin Jefferson. But on any given Sunday, Jamar could be better than Justin. That was my kind of feeling coming into the year. And you've kind of had some time to reflect with T being gone for more than half the year there, just being out due to injury. And Jamar doubled. I don't know, man. I mean, like, Justin is able to handle it. Why is Jamar struggling to get to even 50 yards? Joe's actually not even targeting him. Now, you could say that that's a quarterback thing because Joe is a really big, if I see somebody one-on-one, I'm going to that every single time. And he has actually come out and said that before, too. You leave a guy there one-on-one, I'm going to you. But to never even really give him a look, that tells me that Jamar's not even open. Because I would think they've got the chemistry by now. You would at least throw one up to him if you thought he was open, trusting that he would catch it. I seriously, I don't know if Jamar's a top 5 wide receiver in this league.
Wow. I'm going to let you lay on that bed and make it, buddy, because I think he's great. I think he could help take a team to a Super Bowl. I think he's the reason you guys got there in the first place.
I think T played a much bigger hand in that than people are, and we'll see it next year. But I feel like we're already seeing it now, and it's going to get worse next year unless we get another top guy. And Jermaine Burton missing walkthroughs, that's not helping anything. So you can cut him for all I care. I think you got to go out there and go draft another receiver, unless you really feel like Yoshi Voss is somebody that you can rely on. But I think you still got to keep Gesicki if you're going to end up going with Andre there for your wide receiver too. You have to have another good wide receiver with Jamar Chase. Think about this, okay? Because I put some thought into that. Justin Jefferson was there his junior year of college, and that's when they went off. Senior year, he doesn't play. So we haven't seen him there without another dominant receiver there on the other end of the field. In his entire professional career.
Fair point. Fair point. I still think he's a good receiver. I think you can make that argument that he's not.
See, sometimes we trade take.
I've seen him play one game live, and he scored 3 touchdowns and had probably the highlight of his regular season career so far was juking out like 4 Chiefs defenders. So
I'm spoiled. Like the Bengals have drafted Jamar Chase, AJ Green, Ocho Cinco. Like we normally have. I mean, Boyd was a draft pick. Mohamed Sanu. We normally draft Marvin Jones. We draft receivers really well.
Isaac Curtis.
So maybe I'm just a
Jerome
little spoiled.
Simpson. Remember Jerome Simpson, the guy who did the flip in the
Yeah.
end zone?
Yep, my dad was at that game too.
Don't be forgetting about
Wow.
Isaac Curtis, the original OG 85.
Oh yeah,
Come on now. Shout out.
he was in the first Madden I played.
I thought Tim McGee was the original 85 for the Bungles.
The Bungles.
Man, Josiah, I pray for your sake. I pray for your sake that Baltimore wins tomorrow. Because
Oh, we won't. Don't worry. And I'm going to come on here and make you look like a buffoon again. It's going to be great. Make sure you guys come back.
There's my
Hey.
pick. It's not very dark. It looks blue, but it's supposed to be purple.
let me ask you this.
Is that orange?
What do you think that this, because the spread right now is 6, and that's quite frankly pretty insulting. I think the Bengals are covering that even if we lose.
Definitely. I'd say 6 is a good spread. It's going to be, like I said, last time it's going to come down to overtime possibly. You know? It's going to be a hell of
It'll
a
be
game.
a field goal game.
If not a field goal game, a touchdown and overtime game.
Yeah.
So I think 6 very reasonable spread number. Bengals cover.
Man. Well, you're not going to want to miss Friday's episode. I can tell you that now. Like if you haven't already subscribed, you're missing out, but go ahead and do that now because Friday, Josiah's tears, I'll hold out a cup and a tissue and I'll take them back as soon as the waterworks start. But let's get this thing wrapped up here. Comment down below who you think is going to be winning Thursday Night Football. You think Deshaun Watson is going to be starting there in Cleveland next year? And where do you think Juan Soto is going to be going? Comment down below. Who day? Let's trade tomorrow in the offseason. Let's go.
Love you, DeMar.
Lamar Jackson, 3-time MVP.